think so. I like that idea because when watching movies, I've come to realize that, yeah, this is a great way to reach people. I can lecture for an awful long time and not reach the audience, and one movie can reach, simultaneously almost all over the world. So I like it. I really do. And, it's not a question of who plays me. Obviously, that's not my choice, and I'm sure whoever does will do a great job. I'm not a bigger-than-life character. I may be a character, but I'm not a larger-than-life character, and I'm sure there are plenty of actors who could do me justice. We'll force them to watch several of my lectures.
That's funny. Don, how about you? How do you feel about all this?
Well, I certainly am very flattered as far as Bryce's and others' accolades as far as even the use of the word bravery. I never envisioned that this would have potentially been one's lot in life, but then, as the old saying, we men on a mission can become a bit obsessed at times. But I think I hearken back to when we had the premiere of the Roswell movie at the Directors Guild in Hollywood. And the head of the Directors Guild at that time was introducing everyone in the audience and the production staff and certainly the cast and crew and everyone else. And we're just sitting there. And all at once he says, and finally I'd like to introduce two of the bravest people I have ever met who took on this case and have brought it to the big screen. And we're looking around like, who are you talking about? And all of a sudden our names are mentioned. And it was just the loudest round of applause. And I'm not looking for the applause. I understand. I think we're looking to finish this mission. And certainly, as far as the motion picture would certainly raise it to the next level. And certainly, as Stan describes that, it will reach millions of people, whereas our books, we're happy that anybody responds and says, I just picked up the book and we're pleased to sign it for you. We're in the 21st century, and it would also, take it beyond even the big screen. With DVD and certainly the Internet, and we'd be touching on a subject that a lot of people have never given thought to.
Well,
and
true.
More so, do we actually have the physical evidence in our hands? And that Roswell is, merely the tip of the iceberg of what the government has been withholding from us for all these years.
Bryce, we're not going to give it away, but how do you envision Magic Men?
Well, I think Stan just laid out the tonal way that I envision it. All the President's Men, if you think about what that offers, is a focus on the investigators as opposed to the investigation. I mean, the actual event. I think we will recover the Roswell event, but I think we want to do it in a way that is character-oriented so that audiences will be able to really embrace the film. JFK is a metaphor for the visual style, I think, of it, where there's a lot of information. There are some flashbacks, of course, but we want to handle them in a way that feels very powerful. And of course, if you focus on two people, then you also and the competition, there should be a little bit of humor, and we want to have some of that as well. So I guess the way that I envision the film of Magic Men is a film that allows people to see Roswell as a true event, to see that it took a great degree of grit and stick-to-itiveness and just persistence of the most incredible kind for these men and the other researchers who have worked on Roswell to make this thing clearly proven. And then these guys were talking about the books that they've written. I think that people that would see a movie of the kind that I'm envisioning anyway would want to go out and learn the details and would go read these books. And I think this could be the kind of inciting event. You talk about disclosure on your show quite a bit. Something has to happen that brings people together in a way where they say, that looks authentic to me. I think it's time to be told the truth. And maybe this can, in its own small way, be part of that movement.
And you're going for a big studio to produce this show, aren't you?
Yeah. Honestly, where we stand right now, you have to understand how complicated it is to get the life rights to. Usually for a book, you go out and you option a book. We optioned 2 books here, two sets of life rights with two authors, and there are also other books that have been written on the subject, and there were partners, et cetera, et cetera. So that sort of get the deal together took a while. So we're celebrating, if you will, the fact that those ducks are in a row, and now it's time to get to work on the creative part of the project. My intention is to keep enough control of the project that we can tell the story in the way that it needs to be told for the people who are listening from coast to coast to go see it and say, this feels like the real thing. As Stan was talking about, people actually knowing what they're talking about. So if the only way to keep control is to write it myself first, I'll do that. If it is possible to find a development partner who shares the vision that we need to do it right, and we need to do it authentically, and we need to have this be a powerful moment, then we'll throw in with someone like that. And so that's where we stand right now in the process.
Bryce, how important is it that you have your own knowledge and belief system of the topic?
Well, as you pointed out, I've worked as a reporter myself, and done investigative reporting. I don't think it's important that I have belief. I think it's important that I have knowledge and that I have respect. That's what I think a movie like Magic Men needs more than anything. It needs, in that regard, I'm not the magic bullet. I just happen to have the respect for the material, and I've done the work to gain enough knowledge to tell it properly. And I've spent some time now with both Stan and Don to try to figure out how we can blend their personal lives with their professional lives, with the research itself, and with the event itself. Probably this will be the most difficult screenplay I've ever written, I would think, because it's complex, and yet it can't appear on screen as complex. It needs to appear as authentic, real, and clear.
Well, and that's so important, and I think one of the things that will be difficult, Bryce, but at the same time will be very fascinating to see is the ending, because that's going to be kind of intriguing, isn't it?
It is, and I want to put one thing out there, too. Both Stan and Don have things that they have been working on. Don has a couple of things that he has not yet written about that we hope to break in the film itself, and Stan, as you know, has a overflowing gray basket that we would like to move a couple of things out of the gray basket into the film. So we hope to make a little news in terms of what's in the film at the same time as we make a good movie. So this done right could become an event that people look back on and say this was an important time.
You know, Don, let me ask you, while we got a couple minutes left here with you, do you believe in the authenticity of these Majestic 12 documents that Stan has talked about for so many years?
I certainly was one of the first individuals who made an effort once the documents were released back in 1987. I was on the board of directors at QFOS in Chicago at that time, and I was making regular trips to California and meeting with then Bill Moore and Jamie Chandray, the original recipient of the roll of film containing the documents. And so I was totally open-minded and hoping that this indeed would, not just Roswell, again, because I was a skeptic on Roswell, but I felt that in one fell swoop, this could end the mystery of UFOs once and for all. And it came down to a lot of promises were made, a lot of time and expense was made, and I started to back off merely because promises weren't kept as to further disclosure, more documents. And I've always accepted there was an oversight committee. In fact, even in the Roswell movie, we have a classic scene with the round table of the generals and the scientists discussing how to handle something, of this nature. I remain skeptical on the documents, merely for some of their content and format. But do I